Hey guys, it is Friday. I'm super excited to have my friend Clerberto Copetti. Copetti. Is that how you're supposed to say it? He told me to stretch it out and sound like, crazy Italian that I am. But he is a wonderful friend, an Italian/Brazilian, or a Brazilian who has Italian roots. We've been talking about wine, which is great, and he's been entertaining. I'm very excited to have him on the show. We're going to talk about all sorts of things, maybe a little bit about wine, but certainly about global markets. We want to talk about global. Everybody says Orlando's an international city. Well, it is, but if you're in business, don't you want to learn how to get more global? And if you are in real estate, don't you want to expand your horizons and maybe entertain some of the global citizens that we have coming and buying a lot of property here in Orlando? So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ted.
Very excited to have you. All right, so we want to hear origin story. I know you have a sense of humor, so this has been good. Tell us a little bit about you and your beginnings, and then maybe your journey on how you got here.
Didn't know I had a sense of humor, but...
You have a sense of humor, my friend.
Anyway, I was born in Brazil from northern Italian ancestors. My grandparents came from the northern part of Italy. They were called there the Friulanos because they are from Friuli. And they talk a dialect over there if you were to talk to Italians, they would not understand. In any case.
That's north of Venice? Like north?
That's correct. Okay. Almost into Yugoslavia and Austria.
Wow.
That's why it's so different.
Very interesting.
And they went down to southern Brazil during rough times back in the late 1800s, just like the Germans did, except that the Germans got to the Newfoundland. The Brazilian government was giving away land, and they were going through rough times in Europe. So the Germans laughed at the Italians because they got there 50 years before the Italians.
Interesting.
And they said, we got all that great land, and you got the mountains. And they said, that's what we want. That's how we grow grapes.
That's how you grow the good grapes.
So that's how that happened. They went over there, and they settled, and so many Italians did. They colonized southern tip of Brazil, a state called Rio Grande do Sul, and they're still there, Germans and Italians.
And so you were born there. Did you grow up speaking Portuguese or Italian or both?
Portuguese.
Yeah.
My grandfather would speak Italian. I guess my dad lost, and so I tried to recover, but it's kind of difficult when you are living in a country that speaks Portuguese. But when I go to Italy, if you drop me over there and leave me alone for about 7 days, it kind of gets
You
back.
even say it, Italy.
That's right.
I'm hungry.
So,
I need pasta. That's what I'm feeling right now. So tell me how you made it. What was your early childhood like over there? Did you always want to come to the States? Were you born and you said,
well, I'll tell you exactly,
in Italian? Please tell me.
Exactly how that happened. I grew up in Brazil being a gymnast. I love sports.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See?
I would
no research, people. None whatsoever.
I used to love sports, and would go from city to city on meets, competition, and so forth and so on. And later I discovered that besides liking the sports, I was very curious, geographically wise. I wanted to see other places, other cultures. So even though Brazil is the same country, the states, the regions were different.
Right.
So I love that stuff. So, and that's one of the reasons I ended up here. So in gymnastics, I became the number 17 in the whole country.
So tell me about your gymnastics routine. Were you the horse or the
No
bars?
choice. You have to do all of them, all 6.
Oh, you had to do all 6.
Men do all 6, women do all 4.
Interesting.
So I was very good on floor exercises and rings. And my coach came to America to study master's degree and PhD, so I was left alone there in engineering school, and he kept inviting me to come here. I said, well, I can't, until I finish engineering school. I'll give you a present and I'll go see you. And that was it.
Interesting. I'm still fascinated. So you did the whole ropes, the floor exercise, you did the whole landing, the tumbles, and all of that stuff. No way. That's so cool. Are there pictures of that around that I can go look
No, but
for?
I have to tell you, one time I was live on TV, and I was doing the last piece of a floor routine, and I was so tired, and I did a big old flip and stuff, and it fell on my head, and my mom was watching.
Oh, no way. Were you trying to go to the Olympics?
No, I was not that quality. I have to say, I have to be honest. In gymnastics, you get to a point, a certain age, and you know how far you can go.
Yeah.
So I did the best I could with what I had.
And then engineering? Who was in engineering? Wait, that's you?
That's me.
That's insane. All right, so again, we spend all of our R&D money on booze, so we don't really research our guests. So tell me a little bit about the engineering side.
That's right. So I had to go to school, right? I had to go to college. And usually in Brazil, you kind of stay around your family. So to save money, you don't go like here to another side of the state or the country and spend a lot of money. So what I had in my hometown was a very good engineering school in the University of Santa Maria, where I grew up. And I followed my brother. That's what he became. So I did the same thing. I didn't love that much, but...
what did you... Hey, Brian, I hope you're feeling better, by the way. What did you want to do? What kind of engineering? Was it electrical or civil? So that's where you see all the ponds and retention ponds and you do all the stuff here?
I was more structural.
Structural.
Specific.
Okay, so this might lead you to real estate. Is that what you're going to tell me next?
That's right.
All right, okay, good. So tell me how that transition
So then I came to this country here with my diploma in hand, and I looked for jobs. And they say, oh, you have a diploma from engineering in Brazil. You got a little more work to do. You have to go back to school, do 1 million exams, pass them, and become an engineer, which I did, all of them. And I became a professional engineer in the state of Florida.
And do you miss that?
I don't.
Good, because I can't even imagine with your personality, nothing against my engineering friends, but it definitely is a different world than selling real estate or being with people.
Well, let me tell you how I transitioned then.
Tell me.
You know, gymnastics gave me a lot of discipline, equilibrium, in a sense of go and try something different. Engineering gave me the analytical vision, which I use that in my business today. You know, you have to do it right. You know, dot the E's, cross the T's. So that was very good. And to date, I keep my professional license in Florida. I'm going to tell you the reason why.
Tell me.
I will tell you.
I'm glad you're writing the script for this show.
I know. I'm good at it.
You're good.
Because it gives me credentials. Part of my credentials,
Sure.
I'm an engineer. So, as you know, I deal with international buyers.
Yes.
And in other countries, a realtor is not seen the same way that we are seen here.
How are they seen?
Car salesman.
Car salesman.
So if I tell them that I'm a realtor, if I tell them that I have an engineering degree, oh, okay, I can trust you.
So they have there's some sort of integrity or some sort of validation. Like you're good if you have that. That makes you better than whatever the other ones are.
Yeah, if you went to engineering school and if you became a professional engineer, you must have studied a lot. So I'll trust you.
Very cool.
That's how I started my global real estate.
Well, yeah, that's the fact. We have a quick question. Where are you from in Brazil?
The most southern state in Brazil, called Rio Grande do Sul, from the city of Santa Maria.
There you go. All right. So thank you for asking the question. So yeah, I feel like you have this all set up. You've got the background. Structural is really cool. I did not know that, so I understand. But then how do you make the transition into a position that a lot of people look at as sales? You're basically sales and marketing. You're your own PR person, salesperson, marketing person. You wear a million hats, but there's a lot of interaction, people interaction.
I'll tell you exactly.
All right. I like that.
I basically got tired of being in the office, an engineering office, and doing calculations for a building like the one we see outside like a Chase building that. I became more interested in going talking to a client. Don't ask me why, but I started reading about it, about sales, marketing, strategic planning, and things like that. And then I discovered, I know why, that I had certain talent to interact with clients, and that just set me off. I said, you know what? I did all the way from junior engineer to engineering manager and manager of engineering company. I went all the way to a corporate office ladder. But I got tired one day. I said, look, you got to work Thanksgiving and this and that.
Oh, yeah.
I want to have my own business. I don't want to work for somebody else.
That's good. And so you decided, all right, I'm going to go to real estate. Did you have anybody that said, hey, Clerberto, you would be great at real estate?
No.
No.
No, I always liked the houses and doing things like that. And then when I discovered through this engineering company that I did well with clients, that set me off. I said, you know what, I'm going to do my own business. I'm going to learn how it takes to do this, pass the exams, etc. Became a real estate broker and went on.
Kimber says, isn't it fascinating how our journey and our passions merge when we follow our own pulse? Very good, right? He was doing that, which again, I'm loving all this fascinating information that I didn't know about you. I love the fact that you got in, you're in the States, you obviously, I think your English is great. Was that a challenge?
Yes, it was very good, a big challenge, and I'll explain to you. In Brazil, I was a 10 in English, in grammar, that is reading and writing. When they arrived to this country, it was a different story when you have to listen and understand and speak. And I arrived in the southern tip of the U.S. with that accent of Georgia's and Tennessee's, and I had a trouble understanding that. Right?
It's fascinating, right? Because the dialects are different,
Yeah,
and the accents or dialects are completely different, and so you can't necessarily understand it. It's the same like you were talking about in different parts of Italy or different parts of France. Like every country, I think, just like the United States, you've got the southern drawl if you're in Tennessee or Georgia or Kentucky, and it's completely different than like my home team in New York. You know, they've got a completely different accent and the way they say things. And so if you're from another country, I would imagine that would be an interesting challenge.
Yeah, it was.
All right, so what did you do? You're Southern to the core, yes, I know you are, Kimber. What did you do in the real estate world to build up the business? How did you get the business in order for you to continue to grow? Because it's one thing to say, I want to open a business, I want to be a realtor, but I come from an engineering background, so maybe I don't have all of the people that I would necessarily have if I was doing something different. So how did you build your business up?
Well, very good question. I started, and that was my own company. I didn't have the structure of a huge Remax or Coldwell Bank or stuff to back me up. But I just had this thing inside myself. I knew I'm going to go get it. You know, I discovered one of the reasons I came to this country was that I found out that if I apply myself, I'm going to succeed. I'm going to succeed. So one of the big things it was obviously joining ORA.
So tell them what ORA stands for.
Orlando Regional Realtor Association.
All right, so that is the organization, for you guys that don't know. There's, what are we at, 15 or 16,000 realtors that, and a real estate agent, in order to really do business, in order to have access to the MLS, which is the place where you see all the pretty pictures and you kind of know what's going on with the house, you have to become a member, but it's so much more than that. Talk a little bit about that, and then I want to talk about your global, but talk about ORA as a whole, why that was important.
ORA gave me a sense of home. It's great to be in contact with people who are elite in the profession. Yes. And I soon enough learned the idea and the necessity of helping the community and members to value and raise the standards of our profession. That's why I do this. This is a volunteer work, what we do.
It is.
And to me, that was great. And to let you know, ORA is the third largest association in the state and the 7th in the country.
Which is crazy.
Crazy.
But it makes sense to me because everybody wants to come see the Mouse or Universal. Like there's so many people that come in, even on a daily basis, that move to Orlando or
right.
Central Florida. All right, so when did you decide, all right, I've got this real estate career, but then I have this experience internationally. When did you decide that global was a good thing for you?
Well, I think it was pretty natural. I mean, it just fell in place. You know, I come from Brazil, from Italian ancestors, so I just launched a campaign. First, obviously, the Brazilians, you know, who were my country people, and I decided to research what do I need to do to find them, and I discovered that I launched a website that had keywords that Brazilians would love to do. For example, homes in Orlando, realtors in Orlando, etc.
Cool.
And it was a success 10 years ago. Now everybody does. Everybody copied.
They copied you. They have those good Brazilian pastries, which we can talk about at some point. I've done a lot of events with, or open houses and things like that with Brazilians, and they always bring the food, and I'm the big fat white American that's eating all the food, which happens pretty much every event I go to. So talk about global. We were talking about before the show went live. We are we're known as an international city, a global city, but I think a lot of businesses in town don't know how to capitalize on that, don't know how to reach that market. They're told they can just build a website and they'll come, but that's not necessarily true.
Not necessarily, and maybe we can do parallel to our realtors, to our members. What we do at our global council, which is now over 320 members.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And what is a global council? A global council is a department, if you will. It's a council within a association where realtors do or want to do international transactions. So what we do is we bring the resources, the tools, how to do that. The same would apply to a company. You know, a realtor who comes to Aurora, to Global Council, we bring speakers, we tell them what to do. They need a team to work with, a team of mortgage brokers, money exchange companies, immigration attorneys, decorators, property managers. So a company would have to get those same tools in order to get there. A website only, that would not do it. Correct. We do in our global council that we have set up for 2020 already, our budget and activities. That includes inbound missions, that includes outbound missions, in addition to all the things that we do at Aurora. I would imagine a company would have to do the same.
Yeah, I think a lot of times they're under the impression that it's really just about launching your Facebook page, and because you're in Orlando, your business will do these amazing things. But it takes research. I mean, you kind of have to know your foreign market, your overseas market, your global market. And I think people don't put in enough time for that, and then they get frustrated. But what you don't understand is that there are consumers globally that want to do business with you here in Orlando, and they absolutely look at that. Reese Stewart's on, by the way. NAR, I love Reese. NAR Diamond Award-winning Global Council. I love it. But there's people that want to do business from Brazil, from pick a country. They want to do business here. A lot of it has to do with real estate, but they're also interested when they come and get the real estate. Yeah. Guess what? They want to stay and they want to figure out how to have a business here, a successful branch. So do you guys work with that on the Global Council? Tell us a little bit.
Let me tell you how we do. Simply, it's very simple. If we want to find international buyers or go to another country or send that message, first we need to tell them why Orlando.
Right.
Number one, why Orlando? Why? And if it's a business, why come to Orlando? Why do business with us? Then secondly, what we do is pick a country and study what's going on in that country today.
Right.
So how are we going to tie that? What are the benefits for them to come here and buy a vacation home, whatever it is that they want to buy? We developed at the Orlando Regional Association a pamphlet that's called Focus Orlando. It says right in there, number 1 in the country in this, number 2 in this, number 3 in that, and we give to our members as a tool for them to start. Right. So I don't care if you're going to go to China or to Chile. You are going to first start with Orlando.
Correct.
Why Orlando? So what we need to do as an association, and we are doing. So a business could do the same thing. Tie in with the government, with the city of Orlando,
right,
with Orange County, tying forces, economic development, and present your case.
We're such an inclusive, global kind of city, and I think a lot of people don't realize that they can tap into those resources, like you're talking about, the city of Orlando, the county. We were just talking about Mayor Demings earlier, Mayor Dyer. They are big on the playing field. I mean, I know if you're not in it, you don't get it, but I'm telling you, they're big on the playing field internationally, because everybody wants to do something in Orlando. And so you can figure it out, but why not use the resources that are free to you? Become a member of Aura.
Right.
Even if you're not in real estate, we have affiliates that you can join and become a part, go to the events, but also the city and the county have amazing resources that you can actually capitalize on and it don't cost you anything. They've done all the hard work for you. They've done all the research for you anyway. And there are ways to get involved. Do you cook?
Oh my God.
We're going to talk about wine in a second.
Yeah, so
I had a feeling. I don't know any good Italian.
I know you're going to get there. I know, aside from professional stuff, what do you love to do? Cook.
Oh, I got to know about cook because we were talking about different countries earlier, and I was getting hungry.
Cook food and wine and plants.
So what's your favorite? What is your favorite meal? Is it a Brazilian meal? Is it an Italian meal?
I obviously do Brazilian cookout because you have to. You know, my dad says you have to every Sunday.
So like the meat where they put it off the skewer, like that's really what I want right now.
You know, by the way, that what you are talking about, which you have
the churrascaria.
That came from my home state.
Did it really?
Yes.
Do we have any?
Fogo de Chão and.
So do you like that one? I always like to ask people who have the background and you can probably put you on the spot, but that's okay. It's Friday afternoon. Is that a place where you can actually go get an experience? You feel like that's good?
Yes, it is. I think it represents what we do there in terms of the method of cooking.
Oh, I like
they
that.
cook over an open fire. That's extremely important, not gas.
Right.
Open fire. And then obviously there's an entertainment to it.
A big entertainment, right?
And way too much food, but that's okay.
It's so much food. Listen, the key to that is avoiding the salad bar.
You already learned that.
I'm giving you the heads up on that. All right, let's talk a little bit about wine. You know, that's one of my favorite topics. I don't drink as much of it at the club as I used to, but I'm still a big wine fan. So we were talking about one of your favorites, Pinot Noir. And we were talking about how the flavor is different for me. So what is it about wine? Did you grow up around wine? I'm always fascinated by people who like to drink or don't like to drink. Like, what did you grow up around?
Well, remember at the beginning of our conversation, I described how the Italians got there. The Italians got there after the Germans, and they lost because they had the terrain for it.
Right.
You know, the mountains is where you want. You don't want swamp.
No,
we don't
have any good swamp wines, do we?
Just look at California. So they were happy about it. And my grandfather used to have homemade wine all the time, and he used to drink for breakfast. So it's just
that's why I'm Italian. It's in my blood.
I mean, you know, it was eggs, bacon, if you will call it bacon, salamis and stuff, and but you would get up at 5 a.m. and go work in the agriculture stuff.
And have a glass of wine.
There you go.
See, I'm not as bad as you people think.
No, I mean, so as young people, we grew up seeing that in a little glass of wine for lunch. So just nothing, no harm for them.
So, what's your favorite?
Well, I like Pinot Noir, as I told you before, as a lunch red.
A lunch red.
Yeah, it's a lighter.
That's the new hashtag, by the way. Lunch red.
Yeah, it's a lighter wine. I obviously love the California Cabernets. It's hard.
Big bold cab.
To be hard to beat California cabs. And one that you mentioned before, I really love, and now you learned the history about Ripasso and Amarone.
Amarone, but here's the deal. I think when you sit, like when you go to a nice, especially Italian restaurants tend to have those, of course, but you go and sit down, and first of all, you're afraid to call it an Amarone or an Amarani. I mean, I understand that, right? So if you go to a place and they're really willing to educate you, you should really take a listen to what they have to say. I learned what ripasso meant today, and so you guys have to Google that too. I always challenge everybody to go Google it so we don't share everything with them. Because I didn't realize that was the process.
Yeah, it's a process.
And I thought that was because I need to do better research. Here it is. I thought maybe that was a city or something. And
can I say something about a text we received from Reese?
Yes,
okay.
I love Reese. Hi, Reese. Okay. I know you're watching.
Right.
Reese is the president of Aura 2020 and a great guy, a great friend.
Yeah. What he meant was that we have a Diamond Award. What does that mean? What it means is that before National Association of Realtors, if we follow certain standards every year, you try to receive an award. So our global council at Aura, we received 5 times a platinum award, which is a certain level.
It's amazing.
And in order to receive the highest possible, which is a diamond, there were certain activities that we had to do, and we did it. So in 2018, we received the Diamond Award in Boston.
It's amazing.
So now here we are again, looking for the next challenge for National Association of Realtors.
I love it. And before I ask you the last question, Reese says tiger in the evening, tiger in the morning. I'm not sure where we're going with that, Reese, but it is Friday afternoon, my
If
friend.
you want, I'll tell you.
I don't know if I want. Oh, yes, of course I want. Now I really want to know. What is that? What is that?
Reese is a military person.
Yes.
Both in my family, my wife's dad was in the Marine, U.S. Marine, and her uncle died in the Second World
Wow.
War in Florence. So she comes from a military. So when I first met my wife, in what I described to you, San Francisco, after drinks at the Rotunda in
Nice. Yeah.
we slept too late next day, so her dad knocked at the door and said, "Tiger at night, tiger in the morning. Get the head."
Was not expecting that part of the story. Oh my God, that's awesome. So tiger in the evening, tiger in the morning. All right, we're going to share all of Clerberto's contact information, how you can get involved with Aura, how you can learn more about Global Alliance, Global Council, everything global. I mean, obviously he's got a great sense of business on many different levels, and I think it's really cool that you are open to having people reach out to you. Thank you for that. One of the things we love to do is if you can give a shout out to somebody who's made an impact on you in your life, mentored you in your life, maybe changed your life, and maybe give them a thank you out loud.
Well, if we're going to stay in the global venue, that would be Zola Saranches.
Zola, he's awesome.
Zola, when I first joined the Global Council, it was over 10 years ago. Zola was the chairman, and then later he became the president of the association as well. We were about 37 people. Today we are 325.
Yeah.
And so many thanks to Zola for giving me the tools, the guidance to bring this Global Council to the level that we are today.
Love that. I wish everybody could answer their questions as succinctly as you do. Makes my life much easier. You've been a joy to have on. All right, so please reach out to Clerberto Copetti. Does that sound enough?
That sounds wonderful.
Good. You can ask him about wine. You can ask him about cooking. You can ask him about global. Talk about your business global and anything real estate. So if you're watching from anywhere and you want to know more about our market here and you are one of those global citizens that travels and wants to do something here, reach out to him.
And getting involved at Aura.
Getting involved at Aura. You're a joy, my friend. Thank you, guys. We love you. We'll see you soon. Thanks for being on. Thanks for being patient. Thanks, Reese, for posting all of that stuff. We love you guys. We'll see you soon.